else trying to get you a piece of the pie. So why not catch yourself to be the hero and go with that? So there are two principles for the quest. You need to have faith, hope, and passion. Okay? So you want to own the quest. You want to take full ownership of your quest. And in the quest itself, there are three aspects to it: faith for the quest, hope along the way, and the passion that you bring to the quest that you have. So for faith, there are two principles here. These are very powerful principles, and I'm going through them very quickly. Okay? So the first principle there, Debbie, the president of PMI LA before me. Now you're interrupting my speech. You know that. Okay. So on the quest for faith, the first principle that helps us to get faith along our quests is that the cyclical nature of duality. The darkest night becomes day, the coldest winter becomes spring. The moment after you eat, you begin to get hungry. The moment you buy a new car, it gets old. The moment you become a CEO, you begin to lose that job. It is a continuous process. It is not distinct, nor is it discrete. We tend to think of it as such. So having the faith that your job is coming, the best job is coming to you, cyclically speaking, it has to come. So we have faith in this expansion and contraction. The universe began with an expansion, right? The first breath of our life begins with an expansion. When you walk, your muscles are contracting, expanding. When you swallow, expansion, contraction. The tide, high tide, the ocean expands, contracts. In the springtime, the trees and all creatures, they expand. In the wintertime, they contract. So expansion and contraction are patterns of our universe which are always in motion. So the human tendency is when you reach the peak, the parabolic patterns of life, when you reach the peak, oh, I'm so happy, look, I have a new car, I'm a CEO now, I'm a CFO. However, what we don't realize is on the way down, the downslope, that is the region of the biggest potential. Because then you can focus on improving yourself, and as you go down to the bottom, if you go down really, really fast, when you come back up from the curve, you can reach a higher peak, right? So when people say the best is yet to come, what does that mean? That means you have prepared yourself with more skills, more knowledge, more experience, more tenacity to take on bigger problems. So that's what I mean by the best is yet to come, because you can generate more money by solving bigger problems. So the second principle that helps you to have faith, it's a major principle called syntropy, S-Y-N-T-R-O-P-Y. Syntropy, everything in duality, everything in human existence have two extreme endpoints, and these are called dualistic pairs: cold and hot, tall and short, black and white, bitter and sweet, sharp and dull, flat and crooked, anything, soft and hard, right? So the dualistic pair of syntropy is entropy. Everybody knows what entropy is, right? Entropy is the loss of power, capability. When you have a glass of hot water here, in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the temperature of the water will drop to be same as the temperature of the room. That is entropy. Syntropy is the opposite. Syntropy is an increase in capability, complexity, and power. That's what syntropy is. This is a long story. I'll try to put it into 2 minutes. Einstein, when the Big Bang took place, right? E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. So the big explosion. At that point, when stardust was generated from the Big Bang, that's the first dualistic pair: space and non-space, right? At the same time, two guiding principles came into being: entropy and syntropy. So Einstein dropped the syntropy piece of it because E equals mc squared plus momentum times the speed of light. Actually changed. People are leaving the room. Momentum times the speed of light. Einstein thought, how fast can momentum be in space and time? so he dropped it. But with the advent of quantum mechanics, matters are vibrating at the speed of light. So it comes back in. So long story short, if you really study this, scientifically it is proven that when you solve a square root of 4, the answer equals plus or minus 2. So basically, you have a backward in time solution to syntropy. That means the future is causing the present. Michael Phelps, thinking he was going to win the gold in the Olympics, made him swim 7 days a week, 52 days more per year, 4 years, make him swim 200 extra days per year than anybody else. So syntropy is a very powerful principle. That's why I took your time to go through it, study it, think about it. In my mind, it's not a mad dash. All you have to do is to think about certain goals and visualize it and work on it. Then it is like the gravity, it is a law. It will give you predictable, repeatable results when you invoke the law of syntropy. So we're talking about the quest, we're talking about the faith and the hope. So, I've been in transition for a while, I'm kind of losing hope, I feel weak. You're kind of having doubts, right? If you look at our Earth, it's biophilia, it loves life. If you look at life, there are three qualities about life on Earth. Pervasive, abundant, and diverse. Even in the bottom of the ocean by the hydrothermal vents, they got colonies of crustaceans and so on. So if you look at life, it is diverse, it is abundant, it is everywhere. So the point is, it doesn't matter who you are, what your specialties are, there's a place and time for you. And in my mind, you can derive hope from such a principle on Earth. So there's faith, hope, and passion. In my mind, passion comes into play when you align your personal mission statement to what you do. My personal mission statement at one point was 3 pages long, and over the years when I changed my laptop at work, I lost it. So I ended up with 4 words: advance consciousness and reduce suffering. The workplace is a place where people get, they feel oppressed, they feel unhappy. There's a lot of suffering going on in the workplaces, and by 2050, there will be 10 billion people on Earth. I have a teenager at home. So I have come up with a framework which would allow people to improve their lives, whether they are CEOs or whether they are high school students. So passion, in my mind, is when you align something that's meaningful to you. The one word the previous speaker was talking about, so as he was giving the talk, I came up with the one word: to enlighten. Advance consciousness and reduce suffering. So to make sure that your passion doesn't get destroyed, there are a number of principles here. So I've shared with you the principle of diversity, right? Quickly, how much time do I have?
Still got
7 minutes. Okay. So if you look at the tallest tree to the shortest tree on Earth, you have 2 extreme endpoints, and you have trees of various length, various height, filling the continuum, right? And if you look at the fastest fish to the slowest fish, same idea. So the fact that the continuums of things are filled, that is a representation of diversity. It's diverse. Make sense? So when somebody who is very different from me, and I want to push away, I feel upset, I go to the principle of diversity, and I tell myself, just because I'm on this point, I'm yellow, I'm not white, I'm not black, whatever, it doesn't mean that I'm right. It allows me to be more open about it, and it gives me a sense of playfulness and curiosity to see where they would take this to. So the principle of diversity gives you that ability to persevere when things are not going well. Okay, so we're talking about faith, hope, and passion. So then we talk about the ownership, right? So you own the quest, and you own the path. Right? Let's talk about the path, and then we talk about owning ourselves, and we will end. Owning the path. In Arizona, there's a species of tiger moth. The tiger moth can sense the feeding buzz of a bat on the tiger moth itself, it has an organ in the body that it can click at 4,500 vibrations per second, okay? And that is the radar jamming device the tiger moth has. So the bat is using the principle of echolocation, and the tiger moth is using the principle of radar jamming technology. So these are principles, these are all principles at work. So the recommendation about owning our path is to take a principle-centered approach. So whenever you are in any kind of a situation in a job search, you try to find a principle that you can use that overrule the ego, like jumping to personal, to owning yourself. Sometimes our ego gets in the way. We get angry, we get judgmental, or he was disrespectful to me, therefore I will not be doing this. But if we navigate not by our preferences, but by the principles, the principle says we are to get the emotional commitment of the hiring manager. That's what we should do. It is not to say we have no self-respect in the process, but it allows us to focus on our goal. So that's one example of the principle. So there are few other key principles with owning yourself. Boundary skills, what they say or do are outside of me. My self-determination, self-reliance, self-mastery does not depend on other people. So that allows you to navigate when things are going against you. And things often can come against you. So we have the boundary skills, emotional skills, ego skills, right? Do not let people manipulate you into anger or resentment. So emotion is at best, when you are in the neutral state, that's the most powerful state. And I'll end with the 6 human traits. The first human trait is the creator's complex. We all have a tendency to believe that we are right. Creator's complex. Predisposition. Doesn't matter how hard I try myself, I have a preference because I was raised a certain way. So I need to realize that. Personal filter. I cannot but help to see the world through my eyes. I'm a man with a child, with a wife, so my worldview is skewed because of that. Then we have the monkey mind. Every day, 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts go through our mind every day. So if we don't focus our mind to make sure every thought adds significant value and is error-free, we can waste a lot of time in the negative emotions. And the shifting identity trait of the 6 human traits is where people can shift you by what they say to you, by what's going on with the project. And the idea is, when you navigate by principle, that should give you more power, more focus to generate the epic journeys of your life. So I can do a quick demonstration. Michael, since you are here and you are 50-degree black belt, come on up. Sure. Here's a 50-degree black belt. So for example, so if you hold your position here, don't do anything smart. So he will hold his, don't push, just hold your position. Hold your position. See, the harder I push him, the harder he pushes back. So that's not how I get him to emotionally commit to me, right? Because what's happening here is, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So whatever you are doing, if you feel resistance, stop and see if you are creating your own bumpy road in the experience, right? So if you grab, hold your position. So the tendency is, I want to fight, so we're going to a fight, right? So basically, I'm telling him what I want. I come to a job interview, I'm telling the interviewers, so the lady could see you, see your handsome face. So the interviewers, I want to show you certain things, but you don't do that, right? So what we need to do is hold your position. I have to bend, I need to mold myself to the situation. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all about controlling yourself. The tendency is you want to fight, but don't do that. So I'm one with the principle here. The principle is I'm relaxed, I'm connected. Same thing during a job interview, right? So rather than making him come up because he's going to hold his position, I go down. He cannot control my legs, right? I go down, and then now my legs, now I point my finger to the ceiling, and I stand up. He cannot control my legs here. Thank you, sir. Hello, Michael.
So it's very difficult for me, by the way, because
I know. You
give-
wanted to kill me.
I know. I just give because it's like
I know,
what
I
he's
know.
saying is like when he's saying he takes his hand, right, and he wants to pull me, I'll go with it,
I know.
right, and then I'll just switch it.
This is a
Right.
He's a she-hound.
So it's hard for me to sit there and go,
I know.
oh yeah, I'm gonna hang on to you.
I wanted to pick him, but I wasn't sure. Okay. So the key is, we have so much power within ourselves to make a lot of difference. And the biggest, how should I say? It's hard for me to summarize. You can create miracles in your life if you can connect to the universal principles. In my particular case, how much time do we have? 0. Time is up.
Time's up.
Okay. In my particular case,
You got a little bit because next
Q&A is going to end when?
We got 6:15 is the next speaker, I believe.
What time is it now?
6.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. So we need to get up.
Well, we might have set up.
Okay. So anyways, I will just stop now. Any questions?
Oh yeah, does anybody have any questions? For Jeremy?
Yes, ma'am.
Cassie?
You have a lot of valuable information. How in the world can we get in touch with you?
I gave Susan Quayle here, our speaker's chair. She has all the slides, 68 pages of slides. She has the video, she has the list of principles, she has everything.
And
you can
Jerry
call me.
has-
If you have
Jerry has a bunch of videos on YouTube that you guys
Okay.
can all watch. It's really good stuff, like ninja
Yeah.
skills
So
and
my phone number is
mastering
here.
things. It's really good.
Text me, text myself anytime, text me, and say who you are. So,
Thank you so much,
can I
Jeremy.
have 2 more minutes?
Sure.
2 minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, look, guys.
He's got YouTube videos.
My epic quest in my life is I have accumulated enough principles to come up with the first personal organizational transformation framework. It's called the art of execution. It's got 4 pillars in it: leader's edge, process ninja skills, cohesive skills, and duality skills. To me, it's great stuff, and at the minimum, I want to pass it to my daughter, who is 17 now. She'll be 17 on June 26th. And I believe it's good stuff for the high school, for college, for anybody. It's for free. It's available. So please, text me. I will send you links, or they can send you links. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.